Hello, my name is Phil Richardson, and today we're going to be discussing the 2,550 days from September 23rd, 2025, or the Feast of Trumpets, to Yom Kippur 2032. You will notice on your screen a chart that examines future dates from the years 2014 to 2064 in order to help identify the most realistic future dates of the Messiah's return to earth in order to satisfy Bible prophecy. In doing so, we can locate Daniel's final week or final 7 years. The dates presented are as a result of the Daniel chapter 12 formula. This formula can be viewed at the end of this PDF right here, called the formula. It's also known as the Daniel chapter 12 timeline graph. And the reason I call it the Daniel chapter 12 timeline graph is that all three dates of 1,260 days, 1,290 days, and 1,335 days can all be found in that chapter, verses 7, 11, and 12. You'll notice on this chart or image that there's a start date of Yom Kippur, or the Feast of Trumpets. You'll also notice that 7 years later, that it lands on Yom Kippur, or the Day of Atonement. These are, of course, what we know today as the Jewish feast. And additionally, there's 1,335 days when started on Yom Kippur will end Shavuot, or Pentecost. Essentially, 1,260 days plus 1,290 days is 2,550 days. Now let's scroll back up and look at those days one more time. What you'll notice on this chart on the far left is a grayed area that are all the future Yom Kippur or Feast of Trumpet dates, Tishri 1 as well. Essentially it's Tishri 1, and this is all based on the output or the calendar system from TorahCalendar.com. You will also know three periods of 7 years, those years being 2014 to 2021 with 2,550 days, 2022 to 2029 with 2,550 days, and finally 2025 to 2032 with 2,550 days. If we go beyond those years, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, and beyond, you'll notice that there are no 2,550 days. They do not line up. Some kind of come close, but there's no symmetry. And the symmetry essentially is a symmetry between Torah calendar and the Jewish calendar. What I like about TorahCalendar.com is that it is a precise calendar system based on the lunar moon cycles, specifically Nisan 1 and Tishri 1, Tishri 1 being the Feast of Trumpets, where you, according to the Bible, where you see that sliver with the naked eye. Essentially, Torah calendar goes into the future, and we can document way into the future, probably thousands of years, when the future Yom Kippuros are going to be. So by doing that, by going to the future, we can see that the next set of 7 years that's significant would be Yom Kippur of 2044 to 2051. Those are it has 2,550 days. The next one after that would be the year 2052 to 2059, 2,550 years. And that is it for a long time. I go all the way up to really 60, it says 63, but I went up to the year 2070 just to prove my point on this. Of the 3 7-year periods of time, you'll notice Yom Kippur dates, the actual Yom Kippur dates based on Torah calendar. And you'll have Yom Kippur dates based on the Jewish calendar. In this case, you can see they're in congruence or symmetry and within 2 days of each other. From 2022 to 2029, you'll notice that there's a Yom Kippur date of 9/19/29, and then on the Jewish calendar, it's 9/18/29. So it's in symmetry, it's within 1 day. And then this year, in about 3 or 4 days from now, you have 9/15, or I'm sorry, the Yom Kippur dates of 9/15/32 to 9/13/32, which is within 2 days of each other. So these are highly significant. And again, if we believe that Yeshua, Jesus, fulfilled the spring feast, which he did, Passover, unleavened bread, Feast of First Fruits, then he will likewise fulfill the fall feast of Yom Teruah, Feast of Trumpets, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, and finally the Day of Atonement. Sukkot. Before I forget, let's jump to Daniel chapter 12, the verses that speak of the 3 days, and we know that this is talking about the time we're in. We just witnessed the assassination of Charlie Kirk about a week ago. God is separating the wheat from the tares, or the wheat from the weeds. In that tragedy of Charlie Kirk, people are either mourning for him, like myself, or there are people who are celebrating his death. There's definitely a division. So let's jump to Daniel chapter 12, verse 7. You'll see in this verse that it speaks of a time, times, and a half a time, which is 1,260 days. Jumping ahead to verse 11. And from the time that the daily sacrifice is taken away and the abomination of desolation is set up, there shall be 1,290 days, right there. And finally, blessed is he who waits and comes to the 1,335 days. So this is an end time formula. Let's go back to that. Look at it one more time. Dates from TorahCalendar.com. And you add the 2,550 days. It either lands on Yom Kippur or it doesn't. And most of the time it does not. I did the same thing with the Shavuot dates, which I didn't put in this graph. But I'll have a separate PDF for that showing those dates as well. Before I forget, you can jump to my website, which is 2032.faith, and download this PDF for yourself. It's free. Just go here and click on the PDF. And this will describe, probably better than I can verbalize, exactly what this is about. I'll also have the verbiage up here in the PDF. So you're welcome to check that out. The bottom line is that I believe this Yom Teruah, or Feast of Trumpets, September 23rd, 2025, is highly significant. And it points to essentially Yom Kippur of 2032. Now, I can speculate what that date is, but let's see what happens this week and next week to Yom Kippur. Actually, Yom Kippur, which is 10 days from Yom Teruah, also known as the 10 days of awe. So, some interesting things are happening. You have, the United Nations coming together, the General Assembly voting to vote on this so-called peace plan, or the two-state solution, which is not a peace plan. The Bible warns of that. But that, if it takes place within Yom Teruah to Yom Kippur, and then that's pretty significant. And it really signifies the last 7 years until the return of the Messiah. But again, let's check it out. Let's find out what happens. On my website, you can also download this for free. The PDF is right here. And you can double check some of the math. I've left really 2 links that justify this, TorahCalendar.com and also HebCal.com, which is a Jewish calendar. And as far as the date calculations, timeanddate.com, you can see right here. And when we scroll up, I went into greater detail. What is Daniel's final week, 2025 to 2032? And there's a PDF on that. We click and you see some of the key dates, the key 3 sets of 2,550 days. And if you scroll up from that, you'll come across this image here. And this is really, in my opinion, this is a fantastic timeline image. Let me just go through that real quick so you understand it. essentially, this is based on what I deem as Messiah's Jubilee. This is the name of my book that I released back in August of 2021, again titled Messiah's Jubilee. And what Messiah's Jubilee is well, it's essentially a Jubilee. It's a legitimate Jubilee based on Leviticus chapter 25. And it has a start date, June 7th, 1967. That was the final day of the Six-Day War when the Jewish people reclaimed Jerusalem, went under their dominion for the first time in over 2,500 years. The first time they lost it was under Babylonian rule. And so, 2,500 years later, and here they have it, June 7th, 1967. I believe this began the end times, that specific date began the end times. And the reason being is that Messiah's Jubilee, being an actual Jubilee, you can calculate the end date. And the end date was, where is it? September 23rd. Here we go with the September again. September 23rd, 2015. So from June 7th, 1967 to September 23rd, 2015 equals 7 times 7 weeks, or 7 times 2,520 days per week, or 49 years times 360 days per lunar year, or 17,640 days. And that Yom Kippur date was right here, and that meaning that Yom Kippur 2015 began the Jubilee, the 50th year Jubilee, and that's what this represents right here. If you look at the weeks and you go off of, if you go to the scripture in Daniel chapter 9, where it talks, I believe it's verse 25, here we go. Daniel 9:25, it talks about 62 weeks plus 7 weeks equals, actually it says 7 weeks plus 62 weeks, and I spun it around. 62 weeks plus 7 weeks, and because of the Messiah's Jubilee, equals 69 weeks. And that's what we have. 69 weeks, 69th week was this 7 year, or this week right here. And then beyond that, we have, according to the math that we just discussed, the 2,550 days is you have 3 sets, and you have, of course, the overlap of 2025 to 2032, overlapping 2022 to 2029, meaning that Yom Kippur, September 2029, is very specific as well. And there's another graph here. By the way, the Jubilee, let me just read this so you understand it. And you shall count 7 Sabbaths of years for yourself, 7 times 7 years. And the time of the 7th Sabbath of the year shall be to you 49 years. Then you shall cause a trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month. On the Day of Atonement, you shall make the trumpets to sound throughout all the land. And this kind of more or less goes into that as well. It also talks about the blood moon tetrads that was identified by Pastor Mark Biltz. And you can see that the beginning, June 7th, 1967, pierced through the first blood moons, and Yom Kippur of 2015, which was the end of the 49th and also the beginning of the 50th year, pierced through the final blood moon tetrads, this being the 9th tetrad. So please come to my website. You can get all this information. There's also a Q&A that I talk about certain things. You can also contact me. Okay, thank you very much.